years of experience.
Listen to yourself.
Yeah. Spend quiet time. 5 minutes every morning. Just be quiet. Hard to do.
Yeah.
I'm talking to everybody in this room. Very hard to do. 5 minutes.
Let me just say this about Spike, anybody else, all the critics, anybody else. You know, it's only black people that do this to each other. I've never seen Jewish people complaining about Seinfeld. I've never seen Italian people complaining about The Sopranos. It's only us as that do this to each other.
Before there was any such thing as a Republican or a Democrat, we were black. Before there was any such thing as a Mason or an elk, we were black. That's right. Before there was any such thing as a Jew or a Christian, we were black.
At 70 years old, Denzel Washington is not just a Hollywood legend, he's a walking standard of discipline, excellence, and integrity. He's never been one to chase clout, and he's never had to. He's got Oscars, decades of box office hits, and the respect of nearly every serious actor in the industry. But now, for the first time in his career, Denzel is letting the mask slip just enough to let us see the fire behind the calm. And let's just say, he's naming names. Hollywood has changed, and so has Denzel. Gone is the quiet private diplomat of movie sets. In his place is a seasoned elder of the craft who's no longer interested in protecting fragile egos. In recent years, he's subtly, and not so subtly, distanced himself from some of the biggest names in entertainment, and now he's pulling back the curtain on the 7 actors he simply cannot stand. Let's break it down.
Lesson. We were standing there at this thing, and Denzel said, "I'm gonna show you the difference between me and you." He said, "I'm a movie star, you a TV star." He said, "Watch this, just stay with me." People would come up, "Oh my God, Mr. Washington, I watch every movie, I go everywhere." And just treat him with reverence. As soon as they see me, "Mr. Washington, oh my God, Steve, what's up, man?" "Hey, Steve."
They know you.
What up, dog? "Bro, you so great. Steve, remember that time?" And I'm looking at him, and he said, "You see the difference?" He said, "The difference is I'm a movie star, you a TV star. They got to pay to come see me. They invite you to their house. They think you a relative. Don't nobody have nobody come to their house unless they like them."
Now, before we start talking about who Denzel Washington dislikes in Hollywood, it's just as important to highlight who he admires. Because with Denzel, it's never just about hate, it's about principles. It's about legacy. And if there's one young actor he's truly invested in, it's Michael B. Jordan. Michael isn't just a rising star, he's the kind of talent Denzel sees as worth guiding. Their bond goes beyond handshakes at award shows. It's mentorship in the purest form. When Michael was still finding his way, unsure if he could carry a movie, it was Denzel's belief, and Ryan Coogler's vision, that changed everything. Back in the early 2000s and 10s, Michael had made a name for himself on shows like The Wire and Friday Night Lights, but the jump to the big screen was uncertain. Then came Fruitvale Station, directed by Ryan Coogler. It wasn't just a powerful story, it was a moment. Coogler looked Michael in the eye and said, "You are a movie star." That vote of confidence hit hard, and when the film gained critical acclaim, it opened doors that had long been closed. From there, Michael's partnership with Coogler only grew. They went on to create Creed, which proved Michael could headline a franchise, and Black Panther, one of the highest-grossing films of all time. But while the world was watching the results, behind the scenes, Denzel was watching the man. Quietly, he offered advice that Michael took to heart. One of Denzel's most memorable tips? Stay off social media. "Why would they pay to see you on the weekend if they see you all week for free?" Denzel told him. That wisdom stuck. Even with over 25 million Instagram followers, Michael doesn't overshare. He's not tweeting daily or live streaming his lunch. He keeps the mystery alive, something Denzel believes is essential for an actor's power. And that respect goes both ways. In 2021, Denzel directed a journal for Jordan, casting Michael in the lead. The story, based on a soldier's real-life letters to his son, was deeply emotional. Denzel didn't pick Michael because he was hot in Hollywood. He picked him because he knew Michael could carry the film's emotional weight with grace. Michael's role selection also echoes Denzel's values. He doesn't take parts just because they're available. He looks for strength, meaning, and depth, roles that challenge him. His manager even said they don't accept roles just because he's black. They choose stories that deserve to be told, regardless of race. That approach mirrors Denzel's entire career. In a world where so many actors chase trends, Michael B. Jordan has chosen the harder road, one paved with integrity. And that's exactly why Denzel respects him. He sees in Michael not just a talented performer, but a man building something real. In fact, Michael even dedicated his speech to Denzel. Watch this.
Because let's be real,
In the mind-numbing, weary world that we all live in, we need heroes. We need superheroes like Denzel to remind us that that we're all one people. That's your gift, sir. You unite us.
Now enough about who he likes, because today we're talking about who he hates. And we're starting with perhaps the most famous feud he's ever had with another industry giant in the entertainment world. A feud so quiet, yet so icy, it's impossible to ignore. We're talking about Denzel Washington versus Tyler Perry. On paper, these two should be allies. Both black powerhouses, both billion-dollar names, both symbols of success in a system that wasn't built to let them win. But in reality, they're on opposite sides of the creative universe. And while Denzel's never gone on record saying, "I hate Tyler Perry," the tension between them is undeniable. It's in the choices they make, the silence between them, the sheer absence of any collaboration, even after decades in the same industry. Denzel is a craftsman. Every role he takes is carefully chosen, dissected, and performed with intention. He's not about fast fame or box office gimmicks. He believes in story, in character, in leaving a legacy. Tyler Perry? He's a mogul who built a media empire by writing, directing, and producing his own work at lightning speed. He owns his own studio. He's a businessman. But Denzel, he's an artist, and that's where the divide begins. To Denzel, storytelling is sacred, but to Perry's critics, his work often feels rushed and formulaic. Many say his movies and TV shows lean heavily on stereotypes, predictable plots, and recycled ideas. His fans see it as entertainment. Denzel sees it as a missed opportunity, especially for black narratives that deserve depth, nuance, and dignity. And while Denzel would never publicly attack another black creator, his refusal to work with Perry says more than words ever could. These two men have stood on some of the biggest stages in Hollywood, yet they've never crossed paths professionally. That's not coincidence. That's a choice. But beyond creative differences, darker rumors swirl around Tyler Perry. Allegations that stretch beyond storytelling and into the treatment of people behind the scenes. In Los Angeles, a formal complaint was filed against Perry, accusing him of creating a coercive and exploitative environment, particularly involving actor Derek Dixon, who appeared on Perry's shows The Oval and Ruthless. That lawsuit wasn't just a one-off. Other actors have quietly spoken about the intense pressure they faced while working for Perry. Some say he demands constant rewrites, often changing scripts on set, expecting actors to memorize entirely new dialogue with almost no time to prepare. One slip, and you're fired. That kind of chaos might work for profit, but not for performance. Not in Denzel's world. Actor and voice coach Brandon Jay took things even further. In a viral TikTok video, he described working on Meet the Browns as one of the most stressful experiences of his life. He said a single day on set felt like an entire week somewhere else. Long hours, last-minute rewrites, constant pressure. He painted a picture of a production that ran more like a factory than a creative space.
After Mr. Perry says we're going to change the character and make him gay, I immediately get on the phone with my mom because I'm like, is this customary? Can they just change a character like this? And she didn't really know the answer to that. So she got on the phone with my agent. My agent was like, absolutely not. If Brandon doesn't feel comfortable with playing this character, then he can walk from this because you don't have to do anything that you don't.
Then there's Christian Keys, a longtime Perry collaborator who worked with him for nearly 2 decades. In a raw, emotional video, Christian hinted at something even more disturbing. He spoke of a powerful man in the industry who bragged about having young black men under his control. He never named names, but everyone watching connected the dots. Given his long history with Tyler Perry, from Diary of a Mad Black Woman to All the Queen's Men, the message was chilling.
Gonna have to come out. I've kept one of these on me since '05. Whether it's a keychain recorder. Once this started, I was like, well, I got to protect me because I'm saying no, and I don't want this person, as powerful as they are, to try to get in the way of my work.
Christian's video wasn't some attention-seeking stunt. He cried on camera. He struggled to speak. The pain in his voice was real, and that's what made people listen. Because when someone who spent 20 years in an industry finally breaks their silence, it usually means they've seen too much and tolerated too long. Add to that the years of whispers about Tyler Perry's private life, particularly around his alleged behavior with male actors, and the picture gets murkier. Some straight male performers have expressed discomfort with roles they were cast in, feeling like they were being pushed into characters that didn't align with who they were. Whether rooted in truth or not, the discomfort is real. And for Denzel, who's built his career protecting young black talent, that's a red flag too big to ignore. Now, enough about business partners and bad scripts. Let's talk about one of the earliest signs that Denzel Washington doesn't play when it comes to respect, character, and what goes on behind closed doors. This moment dates all the way back to 2003, at a high-profile Hollywood party thrown by none other than Sean Diddy Combs. Denzel and his wife Pauletta arrived like many of the industry elites, dressed to the nines, all smiles. But what was supposed to be just another glittering night of champagne and networking quickly turned into something else, something darker. Witnesses at the party recalled that Denzel's mood shifted suddenly. He became visibly upset. Then, in a moment that caught everyone's attention, he marched up to Diddy, looked him in the face, and snapped, "You don't respect anyone." With that, he took his wife's hand and left the party without looking back. No press statement, no explanation. But people talked. Whatever Denzel saw that night, it shook him. Some say it was something inappropriate going on in a private room. Others claim it was behavior that crossed a moral line. And now, 20 years later, as disturbing allegations mount against Diddy, lawsuits, essay claims, and countless reports of manipulation, we might just understand why Denzel walked out that night. We didn't know what he saw then. But looking back, it's hard not to wonder, did Denzel witness something the rest of us were blind to? Was that his quiet protest against a man he knew wasn't who he claimed to be? Denzel has long avoided the Hollywood party scene, and that moment cemented why. In his own words, he once told actor Brandon T. Jackson, "You leave 30 minutes before the devil gets there." It sounds like a metaphor, but it's real advice. Denzel believes bad things happen when you stay too long in places you don't belong. That party with Diddy, that was one of those places.
Denzel always told me, we'd be at the parties, he said, "You leave 30 minutes for the devil get there." and he would say that, I will always remember that Denzel would leave the parties early. And I followed Denzel out. I'm out.
He's also said he doesn't have celebrity friends. His closest companions are regular people, a musician, a restaurant owner, a retired ball player, people with no interest in the spotlight, and that's intentional. Denzel's not in this for clout or connections. He protects his peace by keeping his circle small and his values solid. Now going forward on the third person, he hates the most. This one stung because it involved someone Denzel once respected deeply, someone who built an empire on empathy and personal empowerment. But over time, the cracks began to show. Denzel didn't name names, but when he recently warned black actors to be very careful in Hollywood, fans and insiders couldn't help but connect the dots. And those dots led directly to Oprah Winfrey. On the surface, Oprah is the last person you'd expect to make such a list. She's the queen of talk shows, a philanthropist, a billionaire mogul who has done more for charity and education than most celebrities combined. But beneath the smiles and the inspirational quotes, there's a trail of hurt, betrayal, and controversy, particularly when it comes to how she's treated her own community. One of the most notable examples was her relationship with Michael Jackson. Back in 1993, Oprah sat down with Michael at his Neverland Ranch in what was supposed to be a career-clearing personal conversation. But the interview turned cold, fast. Instead of warmth, Oprah pushed hard, grilling Michael on his skin color, his plastic surgeries, and most controversially, his friendships with children. It didn't feel like a friend talking to a friend. It felt like an ambush broadcast to millions. But even that moment pales in comparison to what happened after Michael's death. Years later, Oprah publicly backed the documentary Leaving Neverland, a film built on the accusations of two men claiming mistreatment. Michael was never found guilty in court, yet Oprah gave these men a global stage, interviewed them, praised their bravery, and added fuel to a fire many believed had already been extinguished. To Michael's fans, it was the ultimate betrayal, and Michael wasn't alone. In 2023, Ice Cube, another cultural titan, openly admitted that he felt iced out by Oprah. Despite a legendary career spanning rap, film, and activism, Ice Cube said Oprah never wanted him on her show. His crime? Being an independent thinker. In his own words, he wasn't part of the go-along-to-get-along gang, and for that, he felt sidelined. Then there's Monique. The Oscar-winning actress delivered one of the most raw and powerful performances of the last decade in Precious. But when she refused to promote the film internationally for free, she said she was labeled difficult. Her career came to a screeching halt. And according to her, Oprah and Tyler Perry had a hand in that. She even claimed Tyler admitted to spreading damaging rumors about her. So when Denzel speaks cautiously about Hollywood, when he warns black actors to be on guard, it doesn't come from bitterness. It comes from seeing patterns. Now, going forward with the rest of the names Denzel reportedly doesn't like or hasn't seen eye to eye with over the years, we begin to unravel even more complex relationships. These aren't all fiery public feuds, but they do hint at deep tensions, creative differences, and personal values clashing behind the velvet curtain of Hollywood. Fourth on that list is Quentin Tarantino. The tension between these two began on the set of the 1995 submarine thriller Crimson Tide. Tarantino had done some uncredited script revisions, adding his signature edgy and provocative language. But Denzel was not having it. He confronted Tarantino directly, objecting to the racial slurs and tone in the dialogue. It wasn't about ego, it was about principle. Denzel demanded that respect and authenticity not be compromised just for shock value. That set clash led to years of distance between the two. While they eventually made peace, and Denzel even revealed that his daughter worked on one of Tarantino's films, the memory of that creative collision still lingers as a clear moment of ideological disagreement. What really underscored this clash is the contrast in their styles. Tarantino thrives on provocation. His films are raw, violent, and often packed with controversial dialogue. For him, cinema is an art of extremes. But Denzel? He believes in substance, in truth. He believes stories should uplift or reflect real struggle, not sensationalize it for cheap thrills. And when Tarantino's rewrite included what Denzel believed were racially charged undertones, he couldn't stay silent. This wasn't just about a few lines. It was about how black voices are represented in mainstream narratives. The fifth figure is Eddie Murphy. Now, this one's more subtle. While there hasn't been a major blowout between them, the undercurrent of disconnection is there. Eddie Murphy, with his explosive rise through comedy, was once approached to take on more dramatic roles, including one project on Malcolm X. But according to Murphy, actor and civil rights activist Sidney Poitier once told him, "You're not Denzel Washington." That comment stuck. It wasn't Denzel's doing, but it drew an invisible line between their careers. Denzel's brand was serious, disciplined, and traditionally respected. Murphy, by contrast, was seen as a wild card, brilliant but harder to pin down. The two have always stayed in their separate lanes, rarely working together or even being photographed in the same rooms. In an industry where alliances matter, that quiet separation says a lot. Eddie himself once joked about that division, referencing how Hollywood sees Denzel as the golden boy of black cinema, clean-cut, politically correct, and always Oscar-ready. Eddie, meanwhile, wore his edge with pride. While not a feud per se, their parallel but never-crossing careers tell the story of a respectful distance, driven perhaps more by public perception and internal politics than personal issues. Still, that distance is loud enough to notice. The sixth, Jamie Foxx. Their tension reportedly brewed during the production of The Soloist. Both actors are known for their intensity, but that intensity clashed on set. Reports claim they argued over creative direction, both passionate about their craft but unwilling to yield. Jamie is spontaneous and fiery, while Denzel is deliberate and traditional. The result? A working relationship that felt like walking on a tightrope. Though they completed the film professionally, the experience left its mark. They haven't collaborated since. Fox is a performer who thrives in unpredictability, a musical prodigy, a comic genius, and a serious actor when he wants to be. Denzel, however, comes from the theater world, a place of structure, repetition, and carefully crafted delivery. It was a creative clash more than a personal one, but sometimes those are the hardest to repair. Fox himself later hinted at how hard the shoot was, saying he learned a lot from Denzel, but the tone left many to believe it wasn't always a pleasant experience. And finally, the seventh person Denzel likely keeps at arm's length, Lee Daniels. Daniels, the director of Precious, The Butler, and Empire, has carved out a name for himself with raw, emotionally charged stories. But he also found himself at the center of the Monique controversy. When Monique claimed she was blackballed by Hollywood for not promoting Precious for free, Daniels confirmed the narrative, suggesting that her behavior had indeed cost her opportunities. Denzel, known for his respect for professionalism and fairness, reportedly disagreed with how the situation was handled. To him, punishing a woman, especially a fellow black actor, for wanting to be compensated fairly felt wrong. While Denzel never publicly commented, his silence spoke volumes. He hasn't worked with Daniels, and based on those close to him, likely never will. Daniels' brand of storytelling also veers into what Denzel might consider exploitation. While Daniels tells deeply emotional stories, he often centers trauma and controversy as the main narrative vehicle. That's something Denzel has been careful to avoid. He wants to show struggle, yes, but also hope, dignity, redemption. Daniels' preference for sensationalism and tabloid drama often clashes with Denzel's more principled, purpose-driven view of cinema. These 7 names reflect more than personal dislikes. They reveal the type of man Denzel Washington is, a man of deep conviction, high standards, and unwavering principles. He doesn't engage in petty fights, but he remembers disrespect. He may forgive, but he does not forget. And in a world where reputation is everything, Denzel's silent disapproval may be the loudest judgment of all. In an industry known for backstabbing and shallow alliances, Denzel chooses dignity. When he draws a line, it's because someone has crossed a moral or artistic boundary that matters to him. Whether it's Tyler Perry's rushed storytelling, Diddy's party antics, Oprah's alleged betrayal, or Quentin Tarantino's provocative writing, Denzel makes it clear. If you disrespect the art, the audience, or your fellow actors, he will walk away, quietly but deliberately. And he'll keep doing the work authentically, powerfully, and on his own terms. Now I want to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think these 7 names truly deserve the hate, or do you think Denzel might have been too harsh? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and while you're there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos for more untold Hollywood truths and behind-the-scenes drama.